Today, Rinpoche explained that the root of cyclic existence is grasping at true establishment. There are two ways to grasp: grasping at the self of persons and grasping at phenomena. Anything that isn't grasping at a person imputed on any among the five aggregates is lack of self of phenomena. It's good. It's fine. Jay, parcheso.
Yeah. O taringa to laring in the ra. Ta laring de la ne chibu chungu la, chibu ding la, chibu chimi la so. Chibu chungu la de chang to le de. Then chibu ding la de laba so. Chibu chimi la sha ju ke sen ta shin ru la so ba to la then sa ji bi chu. What to say about it?
Welcome, everyone. Once again, we're looking at Lama Tsongkhapa's great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. And this text is a summary of all of Lord Buddha's teachings. And by way of the explanation found in Atisha's Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment, Lama Tsongkhapa utilizes that outline that Lord Atisha did in order to explain it in a palatable way, or in a way that is easily practiced. So these are called the teachings shared in common, these teachings for beings of three capacities. So they go in order of result, beginning with the least desirable result for a Buddhist practitioner, up to the most desirable result for a Buddhist practitioner. So the first category are the teachings shared in common with beings of small capacity by practicing the ethics which abandons 10 non-virtuous activities and engaging in going for refuge to the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. This practitioner is able to achieve higher realm rebirth of the gods and the humans. The next level teachings are called the teachings shared in common with beings of medium capacity, and these are teachings for beings who wish to achieve an individual nirvana for themselves alone. By practicing the three highest higher trainings of ethics, concentration, and wisdom, he or she is able to achieve a complete nirvana, but only a nirvana, not a state of Buddhahood. And the last category is how one achieves that state of Buddhahood. So he or she practices the previous mentioned paths or teachings, the ones shared in common with beings of small and medium capacity, and then couples them with the mind that aspires to enlightenment and the practice of the six perfections. And in dependence upon these practices, he or she achieves Buddhahood. So this is how all of the teachings are summarized and practiced based on the desired result that the practitioner is aiming for. Do so.
Oh yeah. That and ma. That you la junyi de thing do you la junyi. Tuma mariba ni ban duji lo somba na she ba mezu. Aba che che tu ba riba. Duma tsuwa. You la junyi. Ta ko lo ku you la junyi tuma de mariba. Daba du ban zibi denzi. Denzi leji denzi de kuitawa yins. Tele na Niban Duji Lula Subayala Jungi what the headings are.
So now we're arriving at a section where they start identifying the 12 links of dependent origination. So you'll see when you look at the let's go. I just want to, in case we're going to get into it. Is there a volume? One second. Okay, much better. Okay, so we're getting into the section which is going to explain the 12 links of dependent arising, and this shows how one is thrust into cyclic existence by various factors and so forth, and then it shows how that being goes through his or her life and then is thrust from that life into another form of cyclic existence. So the 12 links of dependent arising basically explain the kind of order or the process of cyclic existence. And it begins with benighted ignorance or ignorance. So the 12 links just listed, because Rinpoche just listed them first, are of ignorance, action, consciousness, name and form, 6 sources, contact, feeling, attachment, grasping, existence, birth, and then aging and death. So these are this is the process one goes through, and it isn't necessarily in an order that first this happens, then that happens, then that happens, because there's various ways to explain the cause and effect order of those 12 links of dependent origination, and it isn't necessarily in that exact order or the way that it is explained. So it begins with ignorance. And the reason for the first link being ignorance is that the cause of all of cyclic existence, what allows for that to arise, is the grasping at true establishment that a being has. So this creates his or her cyclic existence. So the experience of cyclic existence for an individual is created by the amount of ignorance that he or she has. So the grasping at this true establishment of things is what keeps the being bound to cyclic existence and then creating karma and so forth. Rinpoche, the Yenla Juni, the Tambo Nipa Sumba, the Rimbo, Judre, the Judre Omare. Okay, so I was just confirming that there isn't a cause and effect a relationship the way that it's written in this order of 12. So you wouldn't say this order of 12 is just like stages or something like that, where like the 5 paths or the 10 bodhisattva grounds. They aren't in an order like that, but they are all necessary in order to have a complete cycle of bardo to bardo, basically, intermediate state to intermediate state with lives in between. So it shows that process and how that happens. Yeah. Okay, I got all prepared for nothing. Dele yen la juni ya jong.
Dele yen la juni jong. Yanda tongshire ngo tongba leshi mari jong mari jong me jong wa mari me jong wa tene mari ga ba yin teshi yen la juni ga toma mari ba danga suna tende yen la juni ga no res she song jin sa ji ro ji zho ba le jang mari ga ba chuna ne leji na gun jong me joro mari ga ba chuna ne shebe deni gombe sos ne tedan tene gajobe tedan tene ngomen joro dunga pompo baji ba tene teta yandanga che somba tan ya tula chesi pompo zeba she pompo zeba ku tawa somba tan shin donde ba yino paba lai yeba imba ne le luan jejin to ne tumu kula ne ju shesu dan ku zawa na she de shesu nga jambe sawa tendo heben je omi tenju na so gaja gobi reba jenye ji somba tanje jang temugi chu na rangi ngu choba drutabe rangi te ka ne chu na je rangi ngu ni meba tenba zeba yinbe maribin zedan sun shungwa kuni dunto reba na toba somba yinba bedabal dale jeten ji reba jungwa jesu tenpa la gomba che na sheba Lobang Tuji Dani Jenji, Sentient Nam, Dungan Hazuji, Neba, Zine, Tada, Number 2, Shaisher, Ngobunaji, Yantabani, Chetawa, Tawani Rodo, Temba Jebe, Tenzin, the Banjua, Jesu, Temba Tante, Yanda Mai, Tonga Chin, Yanda Mai Tunji, Yanda Tonga, Nabaju, Sheson Bishero, Ngobunaji, Yantaba, Chetawani, Kanyba, Sheba, Ngoni, Mebani, the Makeba, Tamule, Luduji, Mi, Dribane, Ngobunala, Ngoni, Nabar, Toba, Tadala, De Shadan, Shedan, Cheba Shedo, Kangi Te, Tenzin, the Banjua, Shebe, Nayu, Tamuki, Nawa, Session, Sherochi, Miki, Ngobuna, Ngoni, Meba, Ni Tonga, Ti Tana, Ne Meba La, Ti Dochachi, Dochata Shedan, Majo, She Sonshin, Raji Nirubi, Sanjudo, the Meba, Chuji, Tiba Chimbi, Junluji, Tamba, Lanjubane, She Sina, Tachuji, Netuji, Junluji, Tamba Lanjuba, Tunji, the Sheba, Mari Deba, Yansi Sher, Shesu Sonshin, Raji Nidumbale, Raji Nidubi, Sanjadon, the Meba, Tachuji, Netuji, Tiba Tumba, Netuji, Tumba, Dudi, Tala, Tene, Tawa Naba, Siba Tunji, the Sheba, Debi Dunan, Jonshe, Dan, Shesu, Sumbina, Seven Sanji, Janji, Jan, Yola Juni, Che Dombo, Mariba, La, Rajin, Dunduba, Jeba, Dan, Nerala, Chuji Dametuba, Yoba, Jeba, Selo, Ya.
Nene Rinpoche, Ngay Jun, dead slow, then Ngay Nyamdu Injike lo, the just dead Gonga Mepichi. The lo, Gonga Mepichi, then Ngay Nyamdu, then the ka. Okay, good thing Ngay Jun. Gangi Sene Dendel Yenla Juni, Ngay Chu. Then Ngay the ka lana, then Ngay Injike lo. Tuche. The long ke temple do.
Then Yola Juni, Dambo, Mariba, De Kuitawa, Yimbala, Chetayan, Kuitawa Yimba Shebane, Mariba Shedan, Jita, Sheda Yimbe, Kawamedo, Tela Maribane, Ribi, Dushu Yimbala, Riban, Kayaron, La, Majayi, Damebi, Konani, Ribi, Sherobo, Ti Dushu ne Shero de Mebatan, Tele Jembatan la Maronwa, Maron Ti Ingenda, Zimbawu, Ti Den Dado, Brudoba Yimbala, Yila, Teyan, Chuji Dado, Brudoba Ganzaga Dado, Brudoba Ni Yimbe, Chuji, Danzi Ganzaga Danzi Nikala Mariba Yino, Tisher, Jidadan, Nyomu Tanji Jan, Zawa, Tanji Zawa Temba Na, Mariba Zawa, Madeba Maila, Chesi Pumpun Zeyo, but the Sidala Nazi, Chesu J, Ne Dadu Mubi Mariba, Ganzaga Dadu Mubi, Jutemba, Mariba Ni Nasanji, Yundesu Sheba, Yundesu, Lusutembe Na, Jita Mariba Le, Jembe Nyumoba Tanji Jitawa, Temba Ngewa Meto, Seven J, gomba tata shi meshena kuyu tawa niso shebe ngewa shindu kawo ngewa pon shindu kawo tetabi mariba nganjelo te ngomolodu je jeba yite toni dunju bale jodan jele chungana yanda ban toba kan ten tembe mari son tele la junyi jon la junyi jon yanda ton ngodon leshe mari jomen joro leshe mari jomen joro
Dixon Rinpoche.
ya
Kanga.
ten mari ngawa yin teshe la junyi ga che son sa ya
Yabudu. Then ngatsu the drucha ngapchu nga go gutso. Okay. All right. We just had to patch something in a little bit. It's I just wanted to make sure that the whole transmission was there. There was just a small paragraph so we have it all now. Okay. That's not where we are. Thus, okay, so page 208, right about in the middle. Thus, because he explains that it is the first of the 12 factors of dependent arising, it is an affliction and not a cognitive obstruction. I'll just back up so we have frame of reference. So this is from the Middle Way commentary by Chandrakirti, I believe. What's it say? For as cited above, his commentary on the 400 stanzas explains that the conception of true existence is afflictive. Also, his explanation of the Middle Way commentary. Yeah, so of course, Chandrakirti's the Rinpoche, the Dawa Drapa, the Rangdre, the Umajupa Rangdre Yurbe. So this is an auto commentary. The explanation of the Middle Way commentary, this is his own auto commentary on the entrance to the Middle Way. So he wrote the entrance to the Middle Way, which is what we study on the first Wednesday of every month, and that is a commentary on Nagarjuna's Mulya Madhyamika Karika, the root wisdom text. So Chandrakirti, who wrote the entrance to the Middle Way, the commentary on the root wisdom text, also wrote an auto commentary on his own text. So that's what this is right here, his own auto commentary. So it says, because this causes living beings to be confused in their view of the actual state of things, it is delusion. Ignorance mistakenly superimposes upon things an essence that they do not have. It is constituted so as to block perception of their nature. It is a concealer. Thus, conventional truths are posited through the force of the afflictive ignorance which is included within the factors of cyclic existence. So these factors, it should say link. Usually, more often than not, the word link, 12 links of dependent origination is used. So this is what Chandrakirti is referring to, saying that this first link of ignorance is included among those 12 links of dependent origination. Thus, because he explains that it is the first of the 12 factors of dependent arising, it is an affliction and not a cognitive obscuration. What are the cognitive obscurations? This will be explained below. Therefore, he explains that the ignorance which is the first of the 12 factors is the root of cyclic existence, and within that he also explains that the view of the perishing aggregates is the root of cyclic existence. Since ignorance is the general category and the view of the perishing aggregates is an instance, there is no contradiction. Ignorance is the opposite of knowledge, and this does not refer to just any knowledge, but to the wisdom that knows the reality that is selflessness. The opposite of that cannot simply be the non-existence of that wisdom, nor can it simply be something other than that wisdom. Therefore, it is a conception that is that wisdom's contradictory equivalent. This is the superimposition of self. There are two types, the superimposition of an objective self and the superimposition of a personal self. Thus, both the conception of a personal self and the conception of an objective self are ignorance. Therefore, when he indicates the view of the perishing aggregates is the root of all other afflictions, this does not mean that ignorance is not the root. Also, Nagarjuna's Precious Garland says, as long as you conceive that of the aggregates, you will conceive of them as I. This means that the ignorance that is confusion in regard to an objective self causes confusion with regard to a personal self. Since this places the internal divisions of ignorance in a cause and effect relationship, it does not contradict the teaching that the view of the perishing aggregates is the root of all afflictions other than ignorance. If you do not understand this way of explaining what the Master Chandrakirti intended, then it is very difficult to dispel the false impression that he contradicted himself by explaining the root of cyclic existence in two different ways. Let me try that again. If you do not understand this way of explaining what the Master Chandrakirti intended, then it is very difficult to dispel the false impression that he contradicted himself by explaining the root of cyclic existence in two different ways. Nagarjuna, the protector, also accepts this system of identifying ignorance, for his 70 stanzas on emptiness says, "The teacher said that ignorance is the conception that, in reality, things are produced from causes and conditions. From this, the 12 factors arise. Though through seeing reality you know that things are empty, ignorance does not arise. This is the cessation of ignorance. Because of this, the 12 factors cease." Also, the 26th, so if one gets rid of ignorance, the first link of the 12 links of dependent origination, then it unravels and none of the other links can occur because it's the root. So there isn't the cause for the rest of those links to be experienced. Therefore, it stops the whole process altogether. And that's how cyclic existence ends. That's how one enters nirvana. It's by stopping all of the causes that give rise to other than nirvana, or other than whatever the goal of that practitioner is. So he or she, whether the small scope, the medium scope, or great scope, is trying to get rid of something that gives rise to what they don't want to have occur. Okay, let me see. Also, the 26th chapter of his fundamental treatise says, "When ignorance is stopped, compositional activity will not arise at all. That which stops ignorance is knowing that and meditating on reality. By stopping this and the earlier factor of dependent arising, this and that latter factor will not arise. In this way, you thoroughly stop the whole mass of suffering." This and the other passage just cited are in agreement and fit together very well with the line in Nagarjuna's Precious Garland. As long as you conceive of the aggregates, which says the root of cyclic existence is the conception of the aggregates as intrinsically existent, the noble Aryadeva also asserts that, as is clearly indicated by the passage cited earlier, just as the tactile sensory faculty pervades the body, and also the root of cyclic existence is a consciousness. When the master of Nagarjuna refutes the object of negation in the fundamental treatise, he gives all his diverse arguments so as to refute an intrinsic nature, delusion's reification of phenomena as essentially existent, and to show that phenomena lack essence. Thus, Nagarjuna gives a wide range of statements only for the sake of eradicating the way that ignorance apprehends things. Buddhapalita's commentary on the fundamental treatise says, "What is the purpose of teaching dependent arising? The master Nagarjuna, whose very nature is compassion, saw that living beings are beset by various sufferings, and assumed the tank of the teaching, the reality of things just as it is so, they might be of..." Let me try that again. The master Nagarjuna, whose very nature is compassion, saw that living beings are beset by various sufferings and assumed the task of teaching the reality of things just as it is so that they may be free. He therefore began teaching dependent arising, for it is said, "Seeing what is not real, you are bound. Seeing the real, you are free." What is the reality of things just as it is? It is the absence of essence. Unskilled persons whose eye of intelligence is obscured by the darkness of delusion conceive of an essence in things and then generate attachment and hostility with regard to them. When the illumination of the knowledge of dependent arising clears away, the darkness of delusion in the eye of wisdom sees the absence of essence in things, and there is no foundation for the other afflictions, and the attachment and hostility do not develop. Also, in the transition to the 26th chapter, the same text says, question, "You have already explained entry into the ultimate through the Mahayana text. Now explain entry into the ultimate through the texts of the Shravakas." The fundamental treatise then says, reply, "Through obscuration by ignorance, cyclic existence recurs. through obscuration by ignorance. Through obscuration by ignorance, cyclic existence recurs. And in the transition to the 27th chapter, Buddha Palita says, question, now illustrate the absence of wrong views using the scriptures that accord with the vehicles of Shravakas. Reply, the fundamental treatise says, in the past, I arose. I just want to see how far in we are. Let's go. 58. Oh, here we are. These statements make it clear that the Master Buddha Palita also asserts that the ignorance which is the first of the 12 factors of dependent arising is the superimposition of the intrinsic nature on things, and that even Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas know the selflessness of objects. Tikson Rinpoche. The Dene Nyerang, Toga, the Druchang, Apjung. Let's go. Oh, the page stuck together.
Hello. Then Yarala, Churanji Maba Toba, Roji Chenmo ne, Chuji Dandy, La Juniji, Mariba, Joan Deni Himba, Sheba Jishis, Jabale, Tobi Tonga Chenwate. Then Ndero Gabasha She Sombi Toba Ganyi Tanji La Sheba Mayinje Chuna Rangi Muyu Tubanzi Dundu Toba Yinde Di Ndebale Toba Ne Yantaba Mayimbi Ranjinji Dundu Bate She Sonshin Tenyang Nyamunjenji Mariba Yimba ndo nyado ane kantu tanche yurebe gobandoba ne shimo yi mata bo tata mai na susu la takona ni ji tongo do jebe ne tomba ni ji tonba mebe zembi tamela toba ganyi tanche je yula ribe na ngeshe ji yula chu lo she ranji dodoba tanjoro tada na nyangalendebe satribe ya tabi tawa meba jogobe omi yunan la tusan la soba sheba tanchi tome dunjode jijabale dane nyange denju she tomi tondar tomi de lote nyangan da mandawa dijin sheba na ju son she son be so nga shebe mari bin de na je shenyu de ni jere jane rada jeje deba ngobo ma na je cheba tomashi drutaba drute wange jaba tanje ne mari bin de na je yu de ni sonjwa tawa chebe jumba dar tada dobaranju dada dobaranju shiro jenje da maribe shenyu gaja yi tawa sheba shaye kunta trote kunta mawa baji taba tang gaba la lo sheba meja de tar gaja ngoba ne shayu pong ne sheba meje gaja te yu je loto te tangje ku tawa ku tawa chingwa to ne te yu sun jin ba yin la shije tangje ji ku tawa chingwa ne shije ji mariba yin bi shedang kundaji mariba ne chuda mawa kune mawa te kona yuebe kuyu tawa metebi shiro dedala nyeba misheba nyeba shinto kecho kale yuna
Kecho. Chishina tearing the triwa.
okay
Gangen suna nge sampa chira mipa dets kambu.
yeah
So I'm gonna read to where we are. I think Rinpoche's having a little dry for the readings, more difficult, so he wants to do questions today. So we're gonna have a longer just discussion today than normal, because that's what we're doing. So just give me a second. I just have to get to where we are. Then let's see. Went to 660, started right at 658. Where did I read off? Where did I read to last time?
659, 210. Page 210, 659. Oh, yeah.
So I read these statements make it clear.
You read through knowing the selflessness of objects. You're going to start with therefore.
Therefore, you should understand that the great is that.
Correct.
Everybody's concurs. Therefore, you should understand that the great proof for showing that Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas know that objects lack intrinsic nature is the fact that the conception of an objective self is counted as the ignorance that is among the 12 factors of dependent arising. Aryadeva's 400 stanza says, conceptuality sees and you are bound to it. It should be stopped here. Even the conceptuality mentioned in that statement does not refer to all conceptual consciousnesses whatsoever, but rather to conceptual consciousnesses that superimpose essential existence on phenomena. For commenting on that passage, Chandrakirti's commentary on the 400 stanzas says, a conceptual consciousness superimposes an incorrect sense of intrinsic existence. Further, he asserts that it is afflictive ignorance. Hence, while there are those who claim that reason refutes the object of every conceptual consciousness that thinks this is such and such, they have done no detailed investigation of this matter. If it were otherwise, then since for ordinary beings the meaning of hidden reality is hidden, they would have no way of apprehending the meaning of emptiness with a non-conceptual consciousness. Also, if the objects of every conceptual consciousness were contradicted by the reason, then even the objects of certain knowledge would be like the intrinsic nature superimposed by a mistaken wrong consciousness. This would imply that there is no correct view, leading to the state of nirvana, whereby it would be pointless to do any study or reflection on the Madhyamaka texts. For Aryadeva's 400 stanzas says, seeing what is not emptiness as if it were emptiness, some say I will attain nirvana, but they will not. The Tathagata said that you do not reach nirvana through wrong views. Okay, so I'm going to end right there, and then we'll just, Rinpoche, we can read back. I'm just going to read in case. Based on this intrinsic nature, the referent object of the way that ignorance apprehends things as explained above, essentialist schools, Buddhist and non-Buddhist, reify many things. So essentialist, again, means the beings who believe there's intrinsic existence in some form or another in an object, that there's essential nature. Reify many different things. When you negate the referent of the ignorance's cognitive process, you completely stop all these tenet-driven reifications as though you had cut a tree at its root. So once you destroy that idea of essential nature, intrinsic nature, it gets rid of all of the wrong ideas and all of the tenets immediately, because that grasping it at some form, rather subtle or coarse, is what is the mistaken view that disallows the practitioner from ending suffering, basically. Okay, so questions? Awesome. Yeah, please ask. Rinpoche doesn't just want to end, it's just a matter of the reading it is difficult sometimes, and that's...
So my question was, can somebody realize emptiness without without seeing the path seeing, or you know what I mean?
Well, path of seeing is when someone sees emptiness.
So if you haven't reached that state, it's impossible.
Okay, the Rinpoche, the Lobjong Mache Ken, Doni Dopi Sherab, the Zintugudue, the Kointrua, the Tonlam Leingu, Doni the Ngusum Sherab, Doni Dopi Sherab, Guna, Tonlam Legu,
돈이 도시를 통로 내고 말해. 돈이 무슨 도발 통로 내.
Doni Ngusum Dupa Tonlangu. Then Kongitrua, the Tsolang, Julang, Tonlang, Judre, the Tambo Tsolang, then the Tsolang, Dan Julang, Mena, Tonlam,
이거 말해.
Yongomare. Then a Shine Dan Huatong Mena, Doni Dopi Shera, Yongomare.
신나들 하도 맨날 돈이 주어대 용거래.
Then a Kari, Doni
돈이 또 신나들 하도만 또 개외들어.
Kandre.
지제네 돈이라 maybe 신나들 하도 공부가 여러. 아무 돈이 또 전에 신나들 하도 도요 말어. 된 돈이라 maybe 신나들 하도 공.
Then a Jpog Sema, the that's good, Rimche. Intro K Chempeldu. Then a Jpog Sema Yongere. Doni Dopi share up the Jpog.
돈이 너무 또 봐라 제바서 말해.
Jpog Sema. Then a
되는 리지 공원에 통랑주로 통랑 내주는 것도 또 그러.
in Doni Dopi share up the Jpog Shine Dan Latong Goa. Jpog Sema, the Doni Dopi Jpog Sema.
신내 라도 거 말해.
Gogamare.
제바서만이나 신내 라도 많이 미쳐 그래.
Mayimbicha. Okay, Tuchina. So it is a cause and effect experience. So when we talk about the paths, we talk about the 5 paths, and usually we're talking about the 5 Mahayana paths. So we'll refer to the Mahayana in this case. First is the path of accumulation, where that practitioner, just the regular type of practitioner, not the special one that was already in nirvana and then got woken up by a Buddha. The normal process for a practitioner would be that at the path of accumulation, he or she achieves bodhicitta. That's what is the marker for the path of accumulation. As soon as a practitioner becomes a bodhisattva, then at that point they're at the first stage of the path of accumulation, and there are 3, small, medium, and great. So there's 3 of those stages. The practitioner goes through them, becomes more familiar with emptiness, and then he or she hits the path of preparation, and then becomes, through meditation or familiarization, becomes more and more acquainted with emptiness to the point where there is an inferential valid cognition of it, and of that emptiness, which is considered valid cognition. It's not it's incontrovertible at that point. The practitioner knows emptiness is real, but has not had a direct valid cognition of it. Inferential valid cognition is mutually exclusive with calm abiding and special insight, because it's not calm abiding and special insight are a single pointed situation, and that isn't what we're so. So the practitioner then develops this union of calm abiding and special insight, and that tool allows them to directly perceive emptiness. But without all of those tools and without the karma that's been created or accumulated, the practitioner can't experience that emptiness. So if there are stories that someone's chopping wood and sees emptiness, the only way that could happen is if they were just like somehow or another had achieved the inferential valid cognition, calm abiding and special insight, and like suddenly like died or something, and then like the next like life they suddenly realized it. But they had to have created those causes at some point. And the Rinpoche, the Loju Kashe, the Me Shinja, then the Tombani Ngusum, Doni Ngusum Dupi Shera Yure. The Me Kashe, the Loju Yure, Nge Tonsong, the Shin, the chopping, the ja. Then it konso doni the tomba ni tsalo danson, then the tonlan leson.
근데 용그러워다.
So there are stories of this instant realization of emptiness, but it isn't instant. It's something that was accumulated that just appears instant.
So does that mean he's no longer susceptible to being born in the hell realms again?
If
He's seen emptiness.
if someone has reached the path of seeing,
Yeah.
then yes,
Okay.
no more hell.
Okay.
It's actually argued that at the path, there's 4 stages of the path of preparation:
Right.
heat, peak, patience, and the last mundane state of cyclic existence. And some texts say that at the stage of patience, which is the 3rd level of the second path, you no longer are born in the lower realms.
And so,
But it's debated.
just to clear things up too, accumulation. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're still at that stage. You're still vulnerable to being born in the lower realms.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so this is my first time encountering a Galug interpretation of the dependent origination, but I'm familiar with it from both Hinayana and Zen texts.
Okay.
And one thing that I'm noticing that's different here is I know when Zen tradition talks about that first link, that ignorance, they use a very broad definition, and when the Hinayana texts talk about it, they typically just mean ignorance of the Four Noble Truths.
Mm-hmm.
But Tsongkhapa is saying that specifically ignorance of this, conventional versus intrinsic existence. He seems to be making that point. The only issue I'm having with that is, in a lot of, in both Hinayana and Zen tradition, a lot of that stuff comes in with nama rupa. So if you think about it, you have vijnana, you have consciousness arising, and then, as I've always understood it, from consciousness, now all of it, it's my consciousness that leads to me saying, this is a couch, this couch has intrinsic existence. So it would go, just like the links go, it would go from, number 3, consciousness to number 4, nama rupa. So I always thought
What's Nama Rupa?
name and form.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. So, you go from consciousness to name and form. You have a consciousness. From that consciousness, you take, whatever this is, and you assign it in a name and a form. But Tsongkhapa seems to be saying that that's happening at the ignorance stage. So I'm just a little bit confused about that, I guess.
The ignorance stage is where... So first of all, it's not correct that the Hinayana schools view ignorance always as just ignorance of the Four Noble Truths. The Hinayanists most definitely believe that the first root of cyclic existence is grasping at some sort of self. Now, there is a much more coarse form of self, according to the lowest Hinayana school, but it's still what they believe causes us to be in cyclic existence. So the Hinayana schools most definitely, Rinpoche, the conseil de teme the maripa, the dendel yen la juni, the tambo maripa, the conseil de beche kashe, the teme maripa, the denzin yo mare, the dazin yo mare, the dembaji maripa. Yene the yo mare nge tonson teme maripa, dendel yen la juni maripa, the dazin chipa. So Rinpoche is saying that the Hinayanist view of the 12 links of dependent origination are exactly the same as the view that we're talking about here, except that this view is more subtle. The Hinayanists only negate the self of person, but not the self of phenomena. So the view of what they state is being grasped at is different. But ignorance for the Hinayanist, the Mahayanist, is always a misapprehension of reality. That's always what the first link of the 12 links is referring to.
Right. I used, this is one of my first points of contact with Buddhism was Bhikkhu Bodhi's, compilation of stuff from the Pali Nikayas.
Mm-hmm.
And he explicitly, in that he gives this overview of each of the 12 links, and the definition he gives for that first one is literally, ignorant. It's ignorance of suffering, ignorance of the origination of suffering.
Yeah, the origination of suffering is the grasping at true establishment.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, origin, the Four Noble
Alright, so
Truths.
it
The
just
first truth is
encompasses everything.
suffering.
Yep.
The second truth is what
So
causes
all that
it.
stuff comes up. Tsongkhapa's talking about is just part of that second noble
Origin.
truth from a Hinayana perspective.
It's
Or from
really not like
from a Buddhist perspective.
Yeah,
not
Buddhist
just Hinayana.
perspective is that the reason that we are having to experience all of this is because we aren't correctly apprehending something. Something.
Alright, so, yeah.
So the lowest school says we think that the self is true self and that there's only going to be Jeff and there's a permanent, partless Jeff somewhere that doesn't die. There will always be Jeff. So the lowest school believes that it's that thought that there'll always be Jeff is the root. But the higher schools say it's not just that thought, it's the thought that everything exists the wrong way. That is the root of cyclic existence. So as you go from the lowest school to the highest school, all that's happening is your object of observation is broadening.
So does that mean then that Namarupa or name and form just means matter itself? And how does that arise from consciousness then, if it's not?
Rinpoche, the Ming Dan Da, the Zumi, the Dendel Yenla Juni, the Tambo Maripa, Nipa, the Le, Sumba, Sheba, then Jipa, the Ming Dan,
Mizu.
the Mizu, the Sheba Gijepo,
Tuma mariba niba dujigile sumba nanshe
Nanshe,
jiba mizu.
Mizu, Kongi Sampa, the Mizu, Namshe Gijepo.
Yes.
Then the Mizu, the Donda Garre.
Mizu said Pumunga Yoroa, Sujibumu, Tuibumu, Dujibu, Nava Shibu. Nashi Maibi Pumu Jital Mizu Slogre. Mizu. Pumunga Nana Shimajit.
So all this is referring to is that name and form is just referring to, it's just a category that refers to any among the five aggregates that aren't consciousness. I think there's a really good, just give me one moment here. I think the definition of, I think that Panchen Sunandrapa's definition of the fourth link is in this book. Just give me one moment. We have a whole class on the 12 links too. If you go back, Rinpoche gave the whole according to Tsongkhapa, because the first volume, I believe, is it the first or second that has the 12 links in it? We spent like a month, a long time on it. It's really complex when you start to 275 to 83. Because they aren't in order, and it takes two lifetimes to finish it? To complete all 12 links, 2 or 3?
Yeah, they normally do it, at least in the other texts I've seen them, they do it in 2 lives, at least
I think there's a way you can also, though. Okay, 275, 83. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I knew it was in here. Okay. Name and form, as the fourth member of dependent arising, refer to the 5 aggregates of the new life immediately after conception. At that point, there are mental and body consciousnesses. Form refers to the roundish shape, the embryo, the oblong shape, the lengthening embryo, and so forth. The 6 sources are, so that's where it ends. So it's talking about Rinpoche, the Mingzu, the Sheba Yomare. Okay, so it's all of the links except for all of the aggregates except that the 5 aggregates that form to serve as a basis of designation except for consciousness.
Isn't isn't the fourth aggregate the second link of dependent origination?
The
volition, isn't that the second link? So if
discrimination?
Yeah, or it's translated differently, but yeah, I think discrimination's the one. It's
form, feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness.
Formation. Yeah, volitional. So isn't that the second link of dependent origination and the fourth skanda? So how could it be part of Namarupa too?
You're throwing Sanskrit words, and
I'm sorry,
I don't know
I'm
I don't know who Namarupa is.
I'm sorry. I memorized these by writing the note card down.
Right.
with
No,
the
I
Sanskrit
totally
name.
understand it, and I
So,
want to like
name and form. I'm sorry. So
it just
the
seems like
second link
there's a
is-
completely different interpretation of it.
Yeah.
that I don't know.
But
So I'm having a hard time.
Yeah, so the second link is in the links to dependent origination is what's translated here as
Action.
mental formations.
No, the second link in the 12 links of dependent origination is action.
Action. All right. Then I guess there is.
Duje Gile.
All right.
Maripa Duje Gile Nanshe Mizu. Then Rinpoche. So what's the question? So it's ignorance and then action.
Well, yeah, if it's
you're
action,
ignorant and then you act.
Yeah, that's a little. The translation I used
Yeah.
the same word as the fourth skanda, so it's mental formations.
I'm going to do something real quick because I think this will help. Ignorance does not just mean non-knowledge. It is a consciousness that conceives the opposite of correct knowledge. So that's what all schools in Buddhism believe, that this is the first link. Ignorance here is a misconception of oneself as inherently existent and of phenomena included in one's own continuum as being objects controlled by an inherently existent I. So that's what the view of the perishing aggregates is referring to, this grasping as an I and mine. And in the Madhyamaka view, it's grasping at I, mine, and all phenomena as just opposed to I. So ignorance views the nominally existent I, which is merely designated in dependence upon the mental and physical aggregates, as inherently existent selves, and views that aggregates themselves as under the control of this self. So it views that this self is in control of all of these things. In control of this self is in control and is singular. Thus, its principal antidote is knowledge of the true nature of the I as empty of inherent existence. Ignorance can also refer to obscuration with respect to the coarse relationships of actions and their effects, as in the case of ignorantly making sacrifices in order to gain liberation. But at first of the 12 members of dependent arising, it is necessarily a conception of self, of persons, that gives rise to the later members. So all schools concur that it's a conception of self, of true self, that is the first link. And then the second link, action, is put forth by that ignorance.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. I'm going to find some material that's really complete that'll help, and then I'll get it to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, this is a super difficult subject, and how the dendel yen la juni lo gatsigu lo ni lo sum kashe ni kashe sum dendel yen la juni kanga the se gatsigu jewa gatsigu jewa
Toma riba niban duje gele sumba nashi tsachi ta jeba mezu ngaba jeshi chuba riba dumba tsoa jeba seba guba lemba seba tsachi guba lemba tsachi tene jewa to gashi jewa lemba na jewa to gashi tsachi.
So it requires 3 lifetimes in order to complete all 12 links of dependent origination. So then Kali Rinpoche, the Tambo Majipa Namshe Sechi
Sechi Ta Jeba Mezu Ngaba Jeje Juba Riba Dumba Suwa Jeba Suwa Sechi
Kali the Mingzu Jeche Ripa Dene Ripa the Sorwa the Je. Okay. Dene Ripa Lemba
Jeba Siba the Guba Lemba Jeba Siba the Guba Lemba Sechi Lemba Sechi Lemba Jewa the Gashi. What to go to Sesson Dunu?
All right. Then Maripa Duje Nanshe Sechi.
Tom Mariba Niban Duje, Sumba Nanshe Sechi.
Then
Jeba Mezu, Ngaba Jeje, Juba Riba, Dumba Tua Sechi, Jeba Seba Guba Lemba, Juba Seba Jujiba Gaji.
then the Somba, the Jepa, Sipa, Gupa, Lamba, Jupa, Ripa, Jupa Yomare.
Jupa Sipa.
Jupa Sipa. Then the
Jupa Sipa, Jupa Gashi Chiriba. Oteji,
okay, so it requires 3 lifetimes to have this occur. So it requires 1 lifetime for ignorance, action, and consciousness, 1 lifetime for name and form, 6 sources, contact, and feeling, and then 1 lifetime for attachment, grasping, existence, and then birth, aging, and death. So it requires 3 lifetimes in order to complete all 12 links of dependent origination. Yes, next.
I just wanted a little clarification on that, but it's not.
What about it?
In other traditions, I know the dependent links can describe, the lifetime of a human being in that, 3 lifetime system. But they could also describe, they could use a smaller scale too. So like, if you take a new job, even like when the birth of that new status, the death of that old.
That's new Buddhism stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
I had a question about the relationship between the objective, I guess the view of the objective self and the view of the personal self. And
What page is that? Just so I can...
Back on, let's see, bottom of 208.
208.
And I was just wondering, there's a cause and effect relationship between the...
Since this places internal divisions of ignorance and a cause and effect, it does not contradict the teaching.
Between, I guess, the view of the objective self and the view of the personal self. But I was wondering if it can go in the other direction too, and a sort of if the view of the personal self can also like reinforce views of objective self, which I assume is like intrinsic.
Yeah, I haven't. This is English stuff. I haven't seen this personal self and objective self. I've not seen that type of. I don't know what that means. So just give me 1 second. Because you know what I mean. Translators, they put things together. I just want to see what it's referring to in the Tibetan. So I'm going to ask Rinpoche exactly what it says in the Tibetan and just see if that's even what it's saying. Chechugi dadu mumpi maripa kansak. Okay, that's it, I think. Rinpoche, the donagar. Chechu ki dadu mumpi maripa. Donda got it, Rinpoche.
Chuji dadu mumpi maripa se desu gore. Bana ngasina kanzaro. Ngasina kanzaro. Nga mayimbi chue tu kangalo chue gore. Chue dadu maripa la chuji dame. Kanza demba maripa la kanza ga dame.
Then the da ni yure. The da ni donda got it, Rinpoche.
Kanza ga da chuji da.
Ale. So this is referring to the self of persons and self of phenomena. So the objective would be the self of phenomena, I believe, and the personal. Rinpoche is saying that this is referring to the persons that's imputed among the 5 aggregates being empty, and then that which isn't that.
Okay.
So then when they say selflessness, sometimes it refers to a person, but sometimes there's selflessness of phenomena. Mm-hmm. So that's what it's referring to in there.
And so
it's saying that your misapprehension of things can make the misapprehension of yourself and vice versa. Since this places the internal divisions of ignorance in a cause and effect relationship, it does not contradict the teaching that the view of the perishing aggregates is the root of all afflictions other than ignorance. So the view of the perishing aggregates is in relation to the self of persons, not self of phenomena.
But and it does work like the cause.
But there is a cause and effect relationship. It's saying both ways.
Both ways. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're apprehending yourself based on your phenomena, and you're apprehending phenomenon based on your relationship with yourself.
Are there any other questions?
Any other questions? Get on the mic. Get on the... No, we don't do that. It's not funny today.
I was just curious because I heard this before, that, like, I forget which scholar, but I heard that he went up to heaven, and then, like, he was there for a really long time, and then he came back down, and only, like, a morning had passed. In, like,
There's so many of those, so many stories. Because the God's realm is long, like the time frame is different in different realms. So you could be in one realm for like 80 years, and it would be the equivalent of a day.
Yeah, I just thought that was
something like
cool.
that.
Yeah. Okay, that's all.
Yeah, there's so many of those. It could be I don't know. You know what I mean? There's so many stories like that.
Hell, even, right?
Yeah, the Nyawa, the Shapo Chi, the Me, the Nimagatsu Yure.
라
Shapo Chi Nyawa, Shapo Chi Me, Gatsu
매
Gangisena Nyawa, the Shapo Chi, the Sheda Rimbo, the Ngatsu Shapo Chi, the Sheda Rimbo Yomare.
or
Dene, the Ngatsu Shapo Chi Nyawa Lo Gatsu.
뭐뭐 이지다 정가다 하고 오면도
He doesn't know the exact count, but just a day in our lifetime in the human realm is like 80 days or something in the hell realm. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. Different dimension.
라도 쓰시라 라 사설이 뭐랬어
You making plans? Like, you know what I mean? Does this matter? Is this going to change the way you practice Buddhism today in any way, shape, or form? All this information? That's what I always ask myself. Is more information going to change the way I practice Buddhism or improve the quality of my practice in any way, shape, or form? Or is it information that I just need to use in coffee shops?
Okay, thank you.
We good? Yeah, let's do that.
So I'm wondering about the Buddhist view on this Western idea of we have a building character. So I'm wondering if you can, I guess we should use an example. Like, we could use two people that want to become monks. One person, it's very easy, the road is clear, people are helping that person along to become a monk, and they become a monk.
Mm-hmm.
The other really wants to become a monk, but there's so many obstacles in the way.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much ignorance to work
Mm-hmm.
through. So from that perspective, building character, that monk with many, or that person with many obstacles in that lifetime to achieve that goal, accumulate more virtue. The end goal is the same, but to get there, the path was more difficult, more had to be overcome.
Well, that was because everyone's karma is different.
Yes.
So everybody has different imprints that are giving rise to a variety of experiences. And even though they're having a like experience with someone else, they both desire to become ordained, they don't have the same causes and conditions for the results to happen. It's the completing karma. So they have a throwing karma that made them both human beings, but their completing karma is different. So the completing karma fills in the details around the existence. Mm-hmm. So there's some sort of completing karma there that isn't as ripe or isn't as mature as the other beings. So there's some obstacle that has to be purified, and it may mean that not in this lifetime it may not be able to be purified. even though they have the same goal and motivation. That's why there isn't a recipe that you can give any sentient being to just fix them, because everyone has different afflictions and different predispositions. And yes, you can apply emptiness if someone is sharp enough to be able to take the clear route, but usually you have to apply your own individual antidotes.
Right.
You know, some people have a greater problem with lust, some have a greater problem with anger. And all of those individual negativities have very specific antidotes. So that person may need to accumulate more. When you talk about building character, they have to build a better character in their consciousness continuum, not in this body or this lifetime.
Right.
It means their continuum has both negative and positive, but right now, for whatever reason, there's obstacles that are taking place because of previous karma that needs to be purified. So there's some sort of antidote or some sort of accumulation, something that has to occur in order to kind of open up and release that obstacle or remove that obstacle.
Right.
Because there's many cases where people have had problems, like you're saying. They couldn't, like, they weren't able to memorize, right? Mm-hmm. There's Chudapantaka, the story of the Arya Small Road, who wasn't able to even, he would like try to read like this, like memorize one line, and by the time he memorized it and got to the next line and started, he'd forget the one before it. Mm-hmm. And he had this big obstacle that you would think, from a Western scientific perspective, this person would never be able to become a genius. Mm-hmm. This person was slow, or this person wasn't smart. But according to Buddhism, this person had karmic obstacles. And it had there is not smart, there is not dumb, there is not intelligent. Mm-hmm. There is just what your karma is allowing you to experience at that time. So he did all these purifications, basically, and became one of the greatest scholars in the monastery. Mm-hmm. And didn't study more, didn't do extra work, remove the obstacles through karma and through creating virtue. Like, did lots of prostrations, had this practice where he would sweep and imagine he was sweeping his afflictions away.
Right.
And he would clean the place, and his motivation was so pure that allowed for whatever was making it so hard to go away.
Right.
So it isn't always more effort, is my point, at that specific thing. It may mean that there's more effort at something else in order for that thing to work.
Okay.
And that's why karma is so complicated.
Yeah.
And then so difficult to understand, because you can't just, okay, I'm having trouble understanding this, let me read 25 books. Buddha would say, well, you maybe need to do that, but you might need to make 100 prostrations so that your ego and your pride is lessened enough to be able to read it. So it's kind of a complex bag of causes and conditions that give rise to our experience, and it isn't in a straight line at all. And there isn't a,
you don't see all of that sweeping on all of those prostrations that have to happen to clear out those obstacles. That is that accumulating merit?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the whole point.
Okay,
that's
right.
accumulating those things that allow for the obstacles to be removed.
Right. So,
because when you accumulate merit, you're able to get rid of a variety of karmas, and because the merit acts as an antidote or an opponent to those varieties, and you don't know what is in there that's causing the problem. So that's why you kind of blanket over it. That's why the 35 Buddhas, they talk about, like, just saying the one, I prostrate to Buddha Shakyamuni, is like 10,000 eons of negative virtue that's wiped away. So if you have that, you're working with that kind of amounts of negativity, it would make sense that your experiences wouldn't make sense. Because you have that amount. Like, you just say one line and 10,000 eons of something goes away. I mean, that's a lot. Like, so if we have all of those things in us, then anything could kind of happen. It wouldn't seem like it made sense.
okay, thank you.
All you can really do is say, I'm suffering right now and I'm hungry and don't have food. I must have taken food from somebody in a previous life. I must have done something that's concordant with the suffering I'm experiencing right now. But it doesn't mean I did it even within 1 million lifetimes of now. It might have been 2 million ago that I took away like food from us something. I always were afraid when I take a spider web, like they got all this food in there, and like, am I taking food from them? Even though I take them out, I just took their food because that's their web's their food, but they're killing things in that web. Like sometimes you release them and the fly flies out of the web. Boy, it's a mess. Okay.
Any other questions?
This is just kind of a basic question, but in a lot of prayers we refer to the Buddhas of the 3 times.
Yes.
And I realized that I don't really know what that
Sure.
means.
The Dusun Sanje Gare.
도도 산지 요송 대비 산지 되네 나자가 좀 받다 산지 여셔먹고 먹고 산지.
So it's referring to Buddhas of the past, the Buddhas of the present, and the Buddhas of the future. But you would look at it in terms of the material that's currently in our system. So right now, we would say that it's Buddha Shakyamuni time, even though Buddha Shakyamuni isn't, that would be the Buddha of the present.
Okay.
The Buddha of the past would be, I think, Kashyapa, right? Isn't Kashyapa before? Yes. Buddha Kashyapa was the Buddha before Shakyamuni. And Lord Maitreya will be the future Buddha. So it's the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. Dene Rinpoche kongichiwa de tsoksa. Then tsok the garishin tsok ke chempuldu and the ngatsu the tsok mambo migewa dangewa and then natsu sheba nangla. Tetsugechi tsok tetsugechi.
that's so not to the
Tuche.
so not to the karasana shajuk sengu jimba ya what to do so no so marbe shiru no na shiro de mai mi jina go so no to injere shiro de jetu 다 이제 줄을 때네 레부 가르 용거스나
Chuku.
네 상지의 도주지 네
Chuku.
최고 용거 말봐 최고 소동 줄을 때네 롱고도 주고 주고도 주고
Less so.
소는 실내 좀 타바고니도 봐
Less so.
야
So just going back to the idea of collections. So in order to become a Buddha, it's necessary to fulfill 2 specific collections, a collection of exalted wisdom and a collection of merit. So when we looking at the 6 perfections, what falls into what category? So any among the 6 perfections that isn't the last, so meaning the first 5 perfections fall into the category of collection of merit. And the last perfection, wisdom, falls into the collection of exalted wisdom. So it's necessary to have a complete collection of wisdom and a complete collection of merit because they give rise to specific results. So the collection of merit gives rise to the form body of the Buddha, the enjoyment body and the emanation body. That's its concordant result. And the wisdom collection, the exalted wisdom collection, gives rise to the Dharma body of the Buddha, the Chuku. And the 2 different bodies, one of which is the cessation of suffering, and the other within the continuum of the Buddha, the actual just cessation, it's a permanent phenomena. And then the second is an impermanent phenomena, which is the Buddha's omniscience. Those 2 things, the cessation and the Buddha's omniscience, arise from wisdom, but also require the collections of merit in order to come into fruition. But we're looking with the concordant direct causes. We're saying that the Dharma body is created by wisdom, and the enjoyment body and the emanation body are created by merit. So Rinpoche just wanted to mention that. Okay, concluding mandala offering and dedication prayer. And what's happening as you collect those things, as you engage in generosity, the generosity serves as an opponent to the miserliness that you have imprints of in your continuum, times that you didn't want to give. when you engage in ethics, which is the second of the 6 perfections, those are serving as an opponent too. For instance, if you're not killing and you're actively engaging the ethics which abandons killing, then that serves as a direct antidote to killing, because now you're having a motivation to do what is mutually exclusive with what is in your continuum that can give rise to suffering. So that's how these collections work. You're collecting ethics, you're collecting not killing stuff. You're collecting this motivation and the abandonment of killing and stealing and lying and adultery and divisive speech and gossip and harsh words and ignorance and covetousness and wrong views. You're not doing these things, so you're actively not doing them. So that's the point of the ethics that abandons the 10 non-virtuous activities. It isn't just like abstention, it's actively abstaining. So you are actively not killing, you are actively not lying. It isn't just, oh, I didn't lie today. Whoo, surprise, oh, let me think about it. You are actively not lying, you're being mindful, you are actively being honest, you are actively not engaging in adultery, you know. So it's not just like, oh, I didn't do that today, I won. It isn't even really that same karma until it's active, until it's like an acknowledged mindful state that you are in actively abandoning these things, not just coincidence and you win. Like you aren't getting that same collection even though you're abandoning killing every day, unless you're actively abandoning killing. Because and then you have to know what killing exactly is, and etc. So you have to know that it's separating the lifespan of an individual. So taking an individual who's alive and separating. So even if you order a butcher to kill something for you, you're separating it, and it's just direct to karma as killing it yourself. So so if you're actively abstaining from that, then you're creating also intention that will eventually transform into your always intention. So the more like intentions to not kill, then your mind just becomes a non-killing mind, basically. So that's how collections work. You have a non-killing mind, a non-lying mind, a non-adulterous mind, a non-divisive mind. And then there's no longer any way to be divisive, so there's no longer any way to create a seed that causes suffering. So that's it. Concluding mandala offering and dedication prayer. The fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. I dedicate whatever virtues I have collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Drakpa to shine forever. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. Dedicate all this virtue to knowledge of the hero Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra as well. With whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the 3 times, I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. In that pure land surrounded by snowy mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness, all-powerful Avalokiteshvara. May you stay to samsara's end. I pray for the long life of the precious Khensur Wandag, upholder of scriptural and realizational doctrines, the spiritual friend who trained extensively in the 5 philosophical texts with exceptional wisdom and perseverance. Suji Rinpoche Guzi Shapi Derna Lang Atsu Lamrim Chenmo Dang Umajubo Dang Sa Sherab Kanga Chernam.